Where will global investment flow next? So, this session we will explore which sectors are poised to attract the next wave of global capital. It will explore how emerging markets compete for venture and private equity flows. It will reflect on how government incentives influence investor psychology. It will also consider whether AI driven enterprises are overvalued or structurally transformative. So we are joined by Tomoharu Urabe, MIXI Global Investments, Neeraj Gupta, Chapter AI Ventures, Joel Rosada, Techno Creatives Ventures, Johan Lilia from Valerie, and Shazi Ul Mulk from Mulk Holdings. And to moderate the session, we have Dr. Anuj Nandi, political scientist, German Parliament.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you Times for having us here today, and thank you for our great panelists to be here. My name is Dr. Anuj Nandi. I'm from German Bundestag. I work as a political scientist. So without wasting any further time, I think we're going to start our uh, bilateral talks of the day. Well, so the global investment patterns are being reshaped by rapid advances in artificial intelligence, digital infrastructure, and technology led business models. Capital is increasingly flowing toward innovation ecosystems that combine talent, supportive regulation, and scalable technology platforms, shifting the balance of startup growth beyond traditional investment hubs. So I think I would like to ask right at the corner, Mr. Tomorrow. My question to start with you is, but from your perspective, which regions are emerging as the next global innovation and startup hubs, and what factors are attracting capital toward them?
Yes, India. Well, to elaborate more, I'm a managing director of Mixed Global Investments, so it's an India dedicated one. And I also manage, from the headquarters of Mixi, we invest globally in the States, in Europe, or in Asia, anywhere. I also manage that. So I had an internal discussion where we should be investing next from the headquarters, not just, everywhere. Then we think about, we view the market with the, geography and the sector interest. We have a heavy interest in the consumer tech and, AI, not to mention AI, but consumer tech and entertainment. But then I realized, aside from Japan and the States, that's our usual destination. I think India is the most interesting market for us. I went to some other regions, but actually VC and the startup ecosystem is not as strong as India. India is, it's a big. I think it's becoming one of the biggest VC hubs. So many VCs, and also not so many family offices in India, and also that global investors are now coming to India from Singapore and the States. They are setting up, their branch in India. So VCs are very competitive, and also why? Because the market is great. So I think there's a good ecosystem loop in India happening. So I think any corporate investment team should be looking into India.
Well, thank you very much, sir. That being said, I would say that gives us a strong overview of how global capital is shifting toward new innovation ecosystem. So I would have Mr. Neeraj Gupta, a question for you, sir. Building on that, how is artificial intelligence reshaping global investment priorities, and is AI replacing traditional technology investment, or it's expanding?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and we invest in applied AI companies, and we always say that own the market, not the technology, and that's what AI has done. All the deep technologies, what they're doing is their ability to build a level playing field among all the companies, at least to whatever extent it can be. So we always look into the companies, and when we are investing, we always look into whether you own the market, because AI can solve a lot of your issues. A very simple example is legal tech or med tech. Whenever you're talking about, the low end, mid to low end work can be replicated. It's the high end work which is where AI probably may not be able to replicate immediately, but over the period of time it'll scale and it'll probably start helping at that level as well. So AI is definitely very, very interesting. Something like EdTech, which probably after pandemic people started not investing in with AI, suddenly there are so many startups which have started getting funding. So I think AI has brought in a very interesting dimension to the investment, which is where we have started looking into more market than technology. Before pandemic, we were always about technology ecosystem and the business ecosystem.
Thank you very much, sir. That clearly shows how artificial intelligence is redefining global capital allocation. Thank you. I have next Mr. Joel. So, from a venture capital perspective, what structural and ecosystem factors make a country attractive for long-term technology and deep tech investment?
Okay, so I think that you should not just look at the numbers and the amount of investment, because AI has also been skewing the graph a bit. So you get these huge investments, and it looks like a certain region is attracting very lot of capital, but it's maybe just a few player who's attracting it. And traditionally, innovation and entrepreneurship means failing too, fail fast. And if you're about to fail, you should have a lot of bets, because innovation is about testing something that hasn't been done before. So if you do that once, you need to be very, very lucky, especially as a region. So that's a good thing with India here, that we do have a lot of startups, because you need to test a lot of things. And unfortunately, a lot of things has to fail. That's the basically only way to have real innovation, I think. And it's also tricky. I think that this with the market is own the market is important. And owning a market is usually not the first thing you do in a startup. You start building something. So that's why you need an ecosystem with VCs and money, because you need all the levels of it, not just the root level and the top level. You need to be growing and failing at different stages. Sometimes it takes some time to actually build a technology and then test it if it works. Of course, you should test it as fast as possible. But everything is not just a little app where you can test it in like 2 people in 2 weeks. Sometimes it's more like the panel before us, they spoke about like how the human brain works and quantum computing and cyborgs, and that doesn't go in 2 weeks. So I think you need a full chain here.
Well, thank you very much. That is a valuable insight into how innovation ecosystem influence investor confidence and long-term capital decision. Thank you very much. I have Mr. Yuan. Did I pronounce it correct?
Yeah, good enough.
Because J is like Y, right?
Yeah. Johan.
So, from a national strategy perspective, what policy, talent, and infrastructure components are essential for attractive global technology investors?
I think looking what's happening now, I think things are moving really, really fast. They were moving fast before, but I think since December there with the Opus 4.5 coming out there, Claude, I think the cost of building things now is kind of approaching zero. So then it becomes about distribution, data and brand, and data you get from distribution as well. But I think the key here is to have access to a unique data set. I think that will be the moat that's being created. And when it comes to regulations in those areas, I think India is in a good position, a kind of momentum on the policy side. It's a lot of talent here. But I think you also need to look at how to be relevant now with an army of AI agents coming for the junior and mid-level jobs. So that's something to dive into.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Moving forward, I have Mr. Molak. Molak, right. I'm very bad in pronouncing name, but I'm trying, sorry. So the question for you is, how is the Middle East repositioning itself as a global capital and innovation hub, and how are sovereign wealth funds shaping global investment flows?
Yeah, I think the way the Middle East has shaped itself to become the innovation hub and the taking a front lead in the AI setup. I mean, not many countries have actually implemented right at the grassroots levels. Now we have AI classes at the school level from the Ministry of Education. And then innovation hubs are being funded by each of the cities. Like Sharjah recently has announced a fund for an innovation hub, basically, and any discipline for that matter. I think myself being established and started from the UAE, so I can speak from experience, that you see is a different approach of to understand AI. AI for all of us, of course, is a code, but we also see that physical. We see AI capable of building factories, building cities, impacting the whole ecosystem. And that particular part is where the UAE and the Middle East, for that matter, specifically Dubai and Abu Dhabi, has invested a lot. So we have now, I think in 3 months from now, we will be opening up one of the fastest modular construction unit capable of producing something like 60,000 square foot of building area per day. So you can imagine the possibilities when you have an AI influenced robotic modular construction, which means we can build data centers in fraction of the time. We can build buildings. Again, the data centers need housing, skilled workers, right? You need the whole infrastructure. So I think that's one of the examples how actually an innovation combined with a government intent can actually impact the policy of a nation, basically. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the great answer. That provides an important perspective on how sovereign wealth capital is reshaping global investment partners. So thank you very much for all your answers, sir. We'll be moving to a quick round of cross-debating questions. So anyone who would like to answer, please go ahead and answer this question. So do you all agree that artificial intelligence is currently the dominant global investment driver?
Yeah, I think all the buzz is around AI. I think a key here is not that much how fast you can grow, but how long can you stay relevant as a company within AI. We see with new models being released here by Anthropic, OpenAI, etc., that is kind of killing a lot of high-growing companies in different sectors. So you need to look for companies with a durable model within AI as well, and not only AI.
I think you can see it from different perspectives. One is that you look at just the money, and of course it's AI taking the most money. But if you look at the number of bets, and if you divide AI into like, okay, infrastructure AI like Anthropic or ChatGPT or model generation, or applied that you just do something on top of AI, then I don't think we do that many bets in this infrastructure. Of course, there's many different ones, but the ones they're taking basically all the money. So you can see it from different sides.
These kind of waves happen and do happen. If you remember, blockchain had the similar kind of a wave. AI is here to stay, number one. It's not a fake thing. But, you know, if you look into last 2 years of AI investment versus last 6 months of AI investment, suddenly it has become like, have slowed down significantly because of multiple reasons. Number one, investors are becoming more and more intelligent in terms of understanding about AI and efficiencies and how AI can impact your company. That's why number one. Number two, there are areas where you have to be very careful about. For example, there is a very big section of AI where if AI is writing a code, at times the quality of the code is really bad. Really, really bad. And that over the period of time is going to kind of be better. But right now when we start looking into the company and somebody says we are using AI, we need to really do a thorough due diligence. So I feel that the hype is over. Now everybody accepts AI, and now everybody has started looking into AI plus the companies, and now they ask for what do you do and how AI can help you have a multiplier effect, not just in terms of valuation but productivity. So I feel that now word is able to survive with AI and understand how the investment have to happen. This has progressed every single sector where AI could be implemented by a third of what at the time it would have taken, and it will keep growing with more data being open. People have started understanding what could be done with the data.
Yes, AI is driving the investment thesis, but a little different way I see it. I think using AI is more like underlying thesis, how you utilize it. Before, more, I mean, we've been seeing these deals, but if the deck of founders starts to pitch us AI first something, I'd rather wanna know what's the market opportunity and how he can support the demand. So it should be fundamental first, fundamental market opportunity first. Then I double check if the founder can scale the business and also AI makes it more credible. So I think in the deep tech sector, I don't know, but in the consumer tech sector, I look into, it's more important founders is a good leader. They have a good team. It's those fundamentals are and there's a market opportunity. Then AI is the underlying thesis, how you could be differentiating yourself and how you could be presenting a new user experience for the customers.
Well, it's really interesting to see the range of perspective on how AI is shaping and shaping the investment landscape. Moving on to the next question. Are emerging markets ready for deep technology investment, or does it risk still limit capital flows? Mr. Mulk, would you like to start?
No, definitely. I think the impact of AI on the investments in the markets, right, is significant. Because now with the access of the AI being almost kind of an open source, and a lot of the markets are getting competitive. Let's say, again, I take the example of the Middle East. You know, in terms of the technology access as compared to the developed countries, they were way, way behind, let's say 2 years back. But look at them today, right? They, in terms of FDI flow itself, UAE has something like close to $20-25 billion. And that is based on the way they have shaped themselves in terms of the innovation, in terms of course, all the other factors. The way the government has opened up the business, the ease of business, and the complete ecosystem created. This is where I think the impact of AI and the access to the technology is making a smaller markets or the smaller nations competitive to the biggest of the markets.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Gupta, would you like to add on something as per the Canadian perspective?
I agree with everything. There are two things which we need to also understand. AI, data, AI feeds on data, right? So emerging markets, the bigger challenge I see is how, a lot of data which is like healthcare data and these kind of data are very regulated, and many a times we do not think about how do we structure those data. And emerging markets have to understand that part of it as well, that how do they make data accessible for usage. Otherwise, synthetic data you cannot produce. And the second challenge I see is infrastructure. Data center, compute, it's not cheap. It's very expensive right now. Probably in next couple of years it will become cheaper. But right now, if you want to grow, you have to look into the compute and the data. Countries like India, why they are growing is because of the sheer amount of data, and it's a business innovation. India always does a lot of business innovation. So applied AI, probably India is one of the best places. But even if we want to become a superpower, we have to start working on the data access and infrastructure.
Thank you very much. Like you said, AI is here to stay for long term. Would you like to add on something, sir?
Yeah, I think it's interesting with India here and what's happening with the world, because you see a lot of companies doing sort of becoming monopolies, and taking all the money and trying to create the monopoly and a lot of moats and so forth. And India could go in that direction too, to create IT giants and all of that. But my perspective of India economy from building a company here is that there is a power in India too, that there's a lot of people and there's a lot of businesses and there's a lot of growth on several levels. So I'm not sure that India has to or even will be going in the same way where you like canalize all the resources into very few individuals, or if you will manage to actually more like democratize and make the technology available for more people and actually to build their life on top of more people. And what we see in US, especially in US, where you like tokenize everything, so people basically rent their life. Maybe that's a good thing from a like equity standpoint, but maybe is not a good thing from like personal life. So I hope to see India not just copying what happened in the West and so, but actually trying their own and believing in their own. And that's what I see, that it's a proud country. You guys, you believe in your country. So go your own way. I think the world needs that.
Thank you very much, sir. So would you like
Yeah, no, I agree with that one, Joel. I think you need to find your edge as a kind of emerging market. And I think there could be a kind of perceived compliance, security risk if we look at maybe companies in Europe looking to deploy solutions with AI in emerging markets. Do I trust this market to build agents for me, get access to my company data, etc.? So their frameworks needs to be created to manage that in a good way.
Thank you very much, sir. Last but not the least, I have a question for Mr. Rob. I think because you said that India is the future for AI. So how should India position itself to attract long-term global capital? For Mr. Rob, yeah.
Your question is long-term capital?
Right.
Long-term capital. I think it's already happening. So I think Good investment is big investment project. Well, I operate the venture capital. It's a rather smaller check size, but the strategics are, M&As happening, or there are big projects happening. So I think making in India, for example, manufacturing needs requires a big investment, and I'm 100% certain they're doing it for the long-term capital. So, if I think about what's missing, that for example, I often hear, I'm operating the India fund for more than 2 years. Then more strategics in Japan where investors want to have more exposure to India. They want to, but they don't know where to start. They just come to India for the conference for a couple of days, enjoy it, then go back, spend another 1 year. I mean, that's very typical, because India is actually a not easy market for foreigners to understand and build confidence. So I'm hoping that if it doesn't stop at the interest level, but starts the commitment. So my typical advice is, practically speaking, just spend more time, meet more people, so that you realize that it's a culturally business practice and a lot of things context and a lot of things different. And also another practical advice is just find a partner. Don't try to do it yourself. Find a partner. That's the general advice, and it will become a long-term commitment and long-term capital.
And I think there is low-hanging fruit as well. If, for example, you look at the visa process to get into the country. I mean, that's the marketing window for the country in a way, that want to position India in the kind of digital forefront. And that process, to be honest, was a complete disaster. Need to list what countries I've been in for the last 10 years and the birthplace of my parents, etc., etc. So, and then I got logged out several times as well. So it probably took a few hours to just get the visa. And I know many other people having the same situations. I think there are small things like that that can really lift the perceived impression of the country.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mulk, would you like to add on?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. I think, like both the gentlemen expressed, I've also personally experienced that even the CM level delegations coming to Dubai, making a presentation of the state, each state, they come in with a high-level delegation. The top high net worth individuals attend that, very good sessions, and somewhere down the line it gets diluted. After that, the follow-up, I think, from the state associations is not as aggressive as I think it should be. That's one part which India can definitely improve. And that's why if you see the other session, I asked my last question was, what's the point of contact and what do we do next, the Maharashtra session that we had. But having said that, there is absolutely no doubt that India is poised to be the next destination of the international global funds. Absolutely no doubt about that. It's got the captive market, it's got the potential to be a major exporter of anything they do, and particularly when we talk about the data centers, the power of the requirement for power, the skilled forces, India has it all, basically. So I think if we can get those ease of business, like again, I go back to UAE examples. Today, in UAE, I'm not exaggerating, in 20 minutes, you can walk away with a trade license and a bank account, and you don't have to be there. Digital. You can be any part of the world. The free zone officer will check your ID, give it, and by the time you finish your phone call, literally your license is being printed, and the banks are all there. So that's the speed that we're competing with. So I think if we can do that, India is really poised to be the biggest attraction of the global funds.
Yeah, I just need to comment it because I've just been through this process of starting a company here in India, which is interesting. It took 4 to 6 weeks. So we were said. So we started in July and I got registered in December, January. So it does take some time. I don't think that the major problem is not actually that it takes time or that it's a cumbersome process. I think that for me, the major problem is that I need to build talent and skills to actually cope with it. And building a little company and a startup, you need to have a high focus and really do what you do. So if I need to add people who work with paperwork at my company, that will lower the density of talent working with the stuff that we really do. And that's quite dangerous for a startup. And I think that's quite dangerous for basically every company. That's the reason why Google is not just outperforming everybody else in every domain, even though they have like tens of thousands of developers, because it doesn't become that much faster. 200 is not faster than 20 in many cases. So I think this, that you have a slow process or it's a lot of administration to do things, the danger here is that it takes away it's solvable, no worries, but it takes away the focus from what you really do. And that's quite dangerous.
Thank you, sir. How long does it take to open a company in Canada?
30 minutes.
Wow. All right, so where I come from, like from Germany, well, they take I never had my own company, but we are always scared of even to think of getting the license because the whole process would take 6 months to 1 year to get all the administration done. So I think I should be moving to India, Canada, or UAE for the matter of fact.
We have the same in Sweden. You just take a company and you drag it into your little shopping cart and then you check out and then it's done.
Wow, great. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for all the insights that you gave us today. Also, I would like to have audience to, if they have any questions, please, sir, go ahead.
Actually, it's a very rare opportunity for me as a deep tech entrepreneur and sitting in front of such a experienced investors and panel here. So I'm literally, of course, like opening the company and all those things, struggles are immaterial for me. Even melting the ice with the bureaucrats, which is the biggest challenge for the India. Bureaucracy is not opening up. It's very closed system. Apart from that, another challenge the deep tech startups here are facing the fund crisis. If you launch a mall here in NCR, you will get a funding from all bills, but if you're saying you're launching a quantum computing data center or chip, something like that, you hardly get anything, you know. People will say, kitne din mein rokada wapas karoge, hai na? So, you know, it's hurting us the reputation, though money will come, but it is like if we fail to return to the local investor, then our reputation will get hurt. They may go to CBI because now CBI are nowadays behind the founders if they are not returning the money to bank and, you know. So we are now looking for the deep tech funds which are generally lying with the family office or pension funds or, you know, other VC and P funds in Europe or maybe in the China and of course the American system, but they are afraid in directly investing with the Indian startups. So the confidence level of overseas investor, particularly new players, are very, very low here. You know, of course, you take the Reliance, you know, Reliance Jio, entire deal happened during the COVID lockdown. Mukesh Bhai did some online call with, you know, a Facebook founder and some other founder, the deal happened. But we are struggling since last we have three deep tech projects in India. One is that we are building the quantum technology park in Gujarat, in Dhulera. One is quantum data center here in Greater Noida. Another is robotics and AI park in Greater Noida. But, you know, the deepest struggle is augmenting the resources in terms of capital. You know, so how the global investor we can attract in India. As you said, I think the gentleman from Japan is saying that investors are coming for overseas, but they are just visiting here and there, and then they're not getting the actual connect. And here we are, the entrepreneurs are looking for genuine connection from deep tech overseas investor, but we are not getting their confidence build up. So there is some gap. How to actually scale down this gap? I'd like to hear from the panel.
When you talk about deep tech or anything in general, there's something which you have to remember. Most of the investors have this philosophy, which is a very simple philosophy called physics, chemistry, mathematics. All right? What is physics? Physics is about your domain, your business, how big is the opportunity. You should be able to present that in a manner which, remember one thing, investors may not be intellectually as advanced as you, but they're good in doing maths. So they do know the business side of it, which is in India called dhanda, right? So physics is very important for you to interpret. Second thing is chemistry. It is more about, founders, their zeal to start what you're trying to do, why you're doing it. You need to know how to present your story, Physics is about company story. But if you cannot, and storytelling, 90% of times founders do not know how to storytell, right? And when physics and chemistry checks out, then mathematics comes into the picture, where valuation and all these kind of things come into the picture. So you have to remember that in raising funds is not just science, it's art as well. And if you can do it, you will create FOMO in every investor's mindset, and they would want to invest in you. When it comes to quantum and all these technologies, unfortunately, there are a very specific set of investors who understand quantum. So it's not just the challenge of you not able to raise money from all the other investors because they do not understand quantum. So you need to find out those people who essentially are investing in quantum, and there are specific funds which probably will help you if they understand what you're doing.
Yeah, I understand. In fact, our partners are from UK and Finland. So they successfully raised. They are the quantum computer OEMs, startups, right? So within 5-10 slides, they could able to raise the capital in Europe. But even we are going deeper and deeper, and we are preparing, like Indian students when prepare for IIT, they put a lot of effort to crack the IIT, but many of the students did not crack. But we are not able to crack that. Even we are putting a lot of, because the ROI are not available in deep tech right now. And here the Indian investors are always looking for ROI. As you mentioned, kitne dinon mein lota doge, kitne rate par lota doge. These are the questions we have faced. And when we are trying to tap the same investors in Europe who invested in our UK partners or European partners, they are not feeling confident about India, directly investing in Indian deep tech startups. So this is the problem which I am trying to highlight. We don't have ROI calculation. Numbers nahi hai, how many years, how many days we will able to return the money in deep tech, including AI and quantum. And then the guys overseas in in Europe, they are confident with the deep tech, but they are not confident with the Indian startups.
There may be some other problems, but I think you should find a right kind of a mentor who can help you. I don't think it's a big problem. You can still solve that.
Thank you, audience.
Yeah, generally speaking, that I think you provided already the answer. I also observed this. Many of the global funds are coming to India, but cautiously, humbly. Many of the GPs I know, frankly say, they don't invest in the Indian startups alone. You must find a local, India lead investor. Then some funds are willing to look into it. Is a more humble approach, because as a foreigner we kind of respect the Indian culture, and we are not overconfident. We understand the deal and the context and how the operation works. So that's why global investors tend to come late and also tend to co-invest. Is what I observe in any sectors.
Thank you, audience. The rest of the questions we can take outside the room. I request the moderator to conclude the session.
Well, thank you all. Thank you, our distinguished panelists. Hello. Yeah, it's on? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So today's discussion, I think we would all agree that it clearly shows that the innovation, sustainability, and geopolitical stability are shaping the future of global investment. So I thank you all once again for being here. Thank you, Times. Thank you, our distinguished panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you all the panelists. I request you all to take a group picture.